A total of 2 horses. 3 of our people have been injured. And even our sacred clan emblem was taken. How are we going to settle this score?
Once I become the Grand Marshal, I'll pay you back for everything.
Do you really think you can get away? Are you faster than me?
If we talk about which action scene in Conquest is the most impressive, the one where the Iron Maiden wields her heavy sword is definitely a classic highlight. And you would never have guessed that when filming this scene, the actress playing the Iron Maiden was actually only 13 years old, yet she was able to wield the heavy sword with such power and energy, proving with her skills that Kung Fu has nothing to do with age. As the saying goes, a heavy sword has no edge. True mastery lies in simplicity. The heavy sword doesn't rely on flashy moves, but rather on overwhelming force. You can see that during the melee, the girl keeps the sword spinning at high speed, never giving her enemies a chance to get close. After knocking back her opponent with one strike, she smoothly turns to release the force, then uses the friction of the ground to stabilize the heavy sword's position. Her movements are fluid and crisp, but the enemies, relying on their superior numbers, still didn't press in too closely. Seeing herself outnumbered and alone, the girl had no choice but to retreat, but she was still a step too slow.
Are you faster than me?
Realizing that the enemy still had a top expert holding the line, the girl didn't dare get entangled any further. She simply abandoned the clan emblem and turned to flee the scene. But after escaping, the girl walked alone down the street, not knowing where to go next. She had originally stolen the Lizard Clan's emblem in order to participate in the upcoming tournament held by the Nanzhao Kingdom. According to the rules, the winner would be appointed as the Grand Marshal of Nanzhao's army and take on the important task of defending against the enemy nation, Beiyan. However, the tournament has its requirements. Participants not only need to possess the emblems of the 8 great families of Nanzhao, but must also form teams of 3. Since childhood, the girl had been an orphan with no fixed home. She wanted to change her fate through her own abilities, which was why she had no choice but to steal the Lizard Clan's emblem. But now, having failed to obtain the emblem and unable to find any companions, the girl felt at a complete loss. But just then, fate gave her a new opportunity. On the road, she unexpectedly ran into 2 members of the Green Ape clan, Dong Yilong and Chu Hun, who were also looking for teammates. After learning that both sides were quite skilled, the 3 hit it off immediately and decided to form a team to represent the Green Ape clan in the tournament.
Diamond Girl, Chu Hun, Dong Yilong.
Delighted!
After that, the 3 of them made their way to Phoenix City. This tournament was personally organized by the Prime Minister of Nanzhao, Grand Tutor Guan. The competition is divided into 3 rounds. In the first round, 3 families are selected to advance to the semifinals. In the semifinals, 1 family is chosen to enter the finals. And finally, 1 person is selected to serve as the Grand Marshal of the army. Soon, it was time for the first round of the competition. All the contestants from the 8 major families gathered in the arena. Looking around, the massive circular arena was draped with iron chains as thick as a forearm, and beneath the chains were densely packed, razor-sharp spikes, making people instinctively feel a sense of fear. As the referee beside Grand Preceptor Guan publicly announced the competition rules, this fate-deciding tournament officially began.
This year's tournament is different from previous years. The first round! The first 3 families to reach the selection platform at the Grand Preceptor's feet must not be approached.
Ring toss!
This is a brand new form of competition. Contestants are grouped in 3s, chained together, moving forward and backward as one. If any member slips and falls off the arena, they will be instantly impaled and killed by the spikes on the ground below.
What are you doing? Wait, don't be afraid! I'll take care of you!
Just worry about yourself.
Are you ready?
With the referee's command, the competition officially began. Everyone must carve a bloody path through open attacks and hidden ambushes. So as soon as the major families entered the arena, they turned their blades on each other. In order to seize the advantage, everyone pulled out all the stops. But for families with weaker combat strength, they couldn't hold out for long and were quickly wiped out. Just as the battle was at its most intense, the Grand Preceptor's men suddenly activated a mechanism, causing the iron chains to switch positions back and forth. This caused the team that was originally in the lead to be thrown to the very back instead. At the same time, several massive iron balls, each weighing 1,000 pounds, appeared around the edge of the platform and rolled toward the center together. Seeing the situation turn critical, the 3 members of the Zixuan family quickly hooked their curved blades onto the iron chains and continued forward from underneath the chains. Other families who reacted quickly used their lightness skills to dodge the iron balls, but those who were slower either got crushed and fell by the iron balls or had their weapons jammed in the chains, leaving them unable to move. Not long after, the Zixuan family was the first to reach the command platform, winning first place in the competition. The Qingyuan family followed closely behind. But just as the 3 were about to secure second place, Dong Yilong noticed that someone beside him was about to lose their footing and fall. Out of instinctive kindness, he quickly stepped back to grab the other person, but nearly put himself in a desperate situation. Fortunately, Chu Hun reacted in time and managed to pull him back.
I'd have left you behind.
After that, the Qingyuan family successfully secured second place, and the Eagle Falcon family arrived right after, claiming the 3rd spot to advance. As for the other families who failed, not only were they eliminated on the spot, but the Grand Preceptor's men also punished them by branding a mark of failure on their faces. Afterwards, the Grand Preceptor personally presented rewards to the 3 families who advanced. But just as it was about to be the Qingyuan family's turn, Chu Hun suddenly gripped his broken spear tightly, a hint of murderous intent flashing across his face.
I know what you're planning to do, but little sister is innocent.
It turned out that Chu Hun didn't enter the competition to vie for the position of Grand Marshal of the army. His real goal was actually to assassinate the Grand Preceptor Guan. 10 years ago, Chu Hun joined the Chu family army together with his older brother, Chu Cheng. As the commander of the Nanzhao Kingdom's army, Chu Cheng was brave and skilled in battle, earning numerous military merits. However, during a battle against Bei'an, he could have led his troops to a decisive victory. But because Grand Preceptor Guan deliberately obstructed and refused to send reinforcements, the Chu family army ended up being attacked from both front and rear. At the critical moment between life and death, Chu Cheng knew there was no way out, so he could only lead the remaining troops in a desperate fight to the very end. In the end, the Chu family army was annihilated, and only Chu Hun survived by a stroke of luck. From that day on, Chu Hun carried with him the broken spear left by his brother, waiting for the day he could personally settle this blood debt with Grand Preceptor Guan. But when Dong Yilong saw that he was about to make a move, he quickly stopped him and pointed out that this was by no means the best time to act. Because there were too many people around, and if he failed to kill in one strike, many innocent people would be dragged into it. Rather than perishing together, it's better to make it to the end. Wait until you become the Grand Marshal of the army, stand on equal footing with Grand Preceptor Guan, and then expose his crimes in front of the Emperor. By then, not only will you have avenged Chu Cheng, but you will also have cleared the wrongful charges against the Chu family army who died so tragically back then. After learning what had happened, the little sister quickly came over to help smooth things over with a cheerful smile, trying to protect the two of them.
Brother Chu Hun, catch! Catch!
With no other choice, Chu Hun could only suppress his anger and pretend nothing was wrong as he accepted the reward. Soon after, the second round of the tournament began. This time, the three teams that advanced needed to go to Beast King Valley. Legend has it that a Tang snake is imprisoned in Beast King Valley, a ferocious beast bred by Nanzhao for war in ancient times. It is vicious by nature and can devour tens of thousands in a single bite. And to further unleash its beastly nature, the people of Nanzhao forcibly embedded a crown with sharp spikes onto its head. Whenever a battle began, they would tug on the crown, using pain to provoke the Tang snake into a frenzy. But as a result, although the Tang snake killed countless enemies, it also frequently slaughtered their own soldiers by mistake. After weighing the pros and cons, the people of Nanzhao ultimately had no choice but to abandon it, sealing it away in the Valley of the Beast King.
Sounds like this Beast King is actually pretty pitiful.
Once you run into it, the one who'll be pitiful is you.
The group then entered the valley, with the three members of the Zixuan family leading the way on horseback. But before they had gone far, countless vines suddenly shot out from all directions, instantly dragging the three of them away. Seeing this, the members of the Eagle family hurriedly took advantage of the chaos to move forward. But as soon as they got their hands on the Beast King egg, they too were entangled by the vines. Dong Yilong tried to rush forward to help, but he was a step too late. Seizing the opportunity, the little sister quickly picked up the Beast King egg that had been dropped on the ground. Unexpectedly, this action startled the Tang snake deep within the valley. Seeing this, Dong Yilong quickly teamed up with his little sister, deftly dodging and weaving, and eventually made his way into a narrow cave. The Tang snake chased after them relentlessly, but because its crown was too large, it accidentally got stuck between the rocks. Hearing the Tang snake's continuous wails, Dong Yilong suddenly felt a pang of sympathy. He's stuck there. He'll die. With that, disregarding the danger, Dong Yilong leaped onto the Tang snake's head, hooked onto the crown with a barbed tool, and using his own strength, managed to pull the crown off for the Tang snake. Finally freed from its shackles, the Tang snake's ferocity also subsided. Seeing this, Dong Yilong realized that the Tang snake had only been so aggressive out of a desire to protect its offspring, which was why it had chased them so relentlessly. He immediately promised that after the competition, he would return the Beast King egg completely intact.
Please trust me.
Grateful for Dong Yilong's help, the Tang snake ultimately chose to trust him and left with its kin. Just like that, the Qingyuan family obtained the Beast King egg and successfully advanced to the finals. But what they never expected was that the final task in the championship would be for the three of them to fight each other to the death.
Only the one who survives among you three can become the Grand Marshal of Nanzhao's army.
Upon hearing the rules of the final, the three siblings immediately fell silent. They had fought side by side all the way, forming a deep bond, and none of them could bear to harm their companions. However, just as the three were at a stalemate, a blue-robed shaman suddenly appeared and led them into the misty forest, a place that could reveal all of the past.
Yilong, my child, your biological father is the former king of Northern Yan.
It turned out that Dong Yilong was not from Nanzhao, but a descendant of the Northern Yan royal family. Back then, when war broke out between Northern Yan and Nanzhao, his mother accidentally ended up in Qingyuan village in Nanzhao, where she gave birth to Dong Yilong. Unfortunately, she died in childbirth, leaving the infant Dong Yilong to be raised by the villagers. Because of this, all these years, Dong Yilong had no idea about his true origins and simply thought he was an ordinary orphan from Qingyuan village. After saying this, the woman in blue went on to tell her companions that as long as Dong Yilong returned to Bei'an as the prince, inherited the throne, and negotiated peace with Nanzhao, the war could be stopped. There would be no need for the three of them to fight each other to compete for the so-called title of Grand Marshal. But when Chu Hun heard this, his expression changed instantly. Although Grand Tutor Guan was indeed the mastermind behind the events of that year, it was actually the Bei'an army that killed the Chu family troops. He couldn't accept joining forces with the people of Bei'an, so he stormed off in anger. The little Vajra girl didn't want the three of them to fall out, so she immediately chased after him. But unexpectedly, she ran into Grand Tutor Guan, who had already set up an inescapable trap along the way.
Who bullied you? It's all because of you!
The little Vajra girl, furious and bristling with anger, used her waist as her center, gripped her heavy sword tightly with both hands, and charged straight at Grand Tutor Guan. Throughout the attack, she kept the blade spinning at high speed, using her strength to suppress her opponent and relying on the sword's weight to forcefully carve a bloody path. But unfortunately, there were too many opponents. After a fierce battle, the little Vajra girl gradually ran out of strength. Grand Tutor Guan seized the opening and kicked the heavy sword out of her hands. Even after losing her weapon, she was still unwilling to give up and tried to keep fighting. But without her heavy sword, she instantly lost her advantage and was quickly tackled to the ground by Grand Tutor Guan's men. At that moment, Chu Hun heard the commotion from not far away and rushed over to help. Seeing this, Grand Tutor Guan realized the opponent would not be easy to deal with. So, to force Chu Hun to submit, he simply stabbed the little Vajra girl's thigh with his sword, making her cry out in pain. Seeing that Chu Hun still refused to stop, Grand Tutor Guan grabbed a lock of the little Vajra girl's hair and yanked it out by force. The intense pain made her break down instantly. Realizing her life was hanging by a thread, Chu Hun had no choice but to set aside his pride and hatred, willingly surrendering himself in hopes of trading his own life for a slim chance at saving hers.
It's okay. Brother Chu Hun will save you. Don't be afraid.
However, Chu Hun still underestimated Grand Tutor Guan's ruthlessness. The next moment, he saw the other man draw his long blade and stab it straight into the little Vajra girl's back.
Chu Hun, it's you who killed her.
After that, Grand Tutor Guan took Chu Hun away. By the time Dong Yilong arrived, only the little Vajra girl was left, lying in a pool of blood, barely breathing. When Dong Yilong learned that all of this was Grand Tutor Guan's doing, he flew into a rage. After handling the little Vajra girl's funeral, he took both of their weapons and returned to Phoenix City to accept the rules of the final round. On the surface, he appeared to be facing off against Chu Hun in a life-or-death battle, but in reality, he planned to join forces with him at a critical moment to turn the tables on Grand Tutor Guan and avenge the little Vajra girl. But unexpectedly, Grand Tutor Guan had already made other plans. Just as Dong Yilong and Chu Hun were about to make their move, he suddenly launched a rebellion. It turned out that Grand Tutor Guan was a spy planted in Nanzhao by Beian. He had been lurking in the royal court for years, all to find an opportunity to bring down the Nanzhao kingdom. It was he who orchestrated the downfall of the Chu family army all those years ago. And this time, the martial arts tournament among the 8 great families was just like the conspiracy from years ago. Another deadly trap meticulously set by him. His goal was to use the competition as a pretext to wipe out all the royals who had come to watch. Taking advantage of the Nanzhao emperor's confusion, Grand Tutor Guan immediately used the excuse of protecting the emperor to lure the royal family members into the Lingyan pavilion, which had been secretly constructed in advance.
I have poured my heart and soul into building the Lingyan pavilion over the years, all for this very day.
Your Majesty, we can't get out.
Then Grand Tutor Guan had men seal the doors, oil the building, and set it on fire to burn all inside. Just then, the 8 clans arrived to shield the emperor and clashed with Guan's faction. Eagle clan members rushed into Lingyan Pavilion, forced open the doors, and saved the emperor from the fire.
The mighty Eagle clan's Wen Tianyu has arrived here to rescue my entire family.
Seeing his plan fail and the reinforcements from Nanzhao growing ever closer, Grand Tutor Guan realized he had no chance of victory left, so he tried to make a desperate escape using a glider. Unexpectedly, just as he took off, he was spotted in time by Dong Yilong. Dong Yilong immediately gave chase, slashing the glider with his blade and causing Grand Tutor Guan to fall. Seeing this, Chu Hun seized the opportunity, rushed forward, and unleashed a furious beating on Grand Tutor Guan, venting years of pent-up blood vengeance on him, and finally killed him with his own hands. Soon after, the fire was successfully extinguished, the chaos of war was quelled, and in recognition of Chu Hun's service in saving the Emperor of Nanzhao immediately appointed him as the Grand Marshal of the Armed Forces. After returning the Beast King's egg, Dong Yilong also chose to return to Beian, using his status as a prince to help bring about peace and recovery between the two nations. As for little Vajra, the emperor admired her chivalrous spirit and courage, and ordered a 100-meter-tall statue of her to be erected in the city so that her name would be remembered forever. The movie ends here. That's all for this video.